What is it about Skyrim that keeps it such a great game after 15 years? Is it the sheer sense of freedom, being able to roam across the plains of Whiterun? The endless role-playing possibilities and character builds? Or maybe it's all those interesting personalities and interactions from Skyrim's hundreds of NPCs? Or maybe, should I say, the lack of personalities? Skyrim's base game already gives us with a ton of possibilities, but for years the best part of the whole experience has been the additions created by mod authors. They've given us new features like strange new creatures in the wilds, all the way to creative new magic types to add to the gameplay. Nothing is ever out of the question, and there are no limitations when it comes to Skyrim modding. So sit back, relax, and welcome to another Skyrim modding showcase.
I choose this as our goal.
Creatures of none.
All men are kings. If he breathes, he is sin.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Not Samson and Broom, all right? Won't be.
To kick things off, we're starting with a few immersion mods designed to give our game more realism. We're starting with snowy standing stones for snowy regions. This is a great example of a simple mod that changes the feel of the world. You've definitely seen it before when you're deep in the snowy north of Skyrim, and everything is iced over. But these standing stones look completely pristine. It's like somehow they're immune to the blizzard, and it just feels kind of wrong. This mod fixes that oversight by adding proper, realistic snow coverage and frost to the standing stones, making them finally look weathered and letting them blend into the terrain. Next up is Petroglyphs of Skyrim. This mod is all about adding history to your adventures by randomly distributing these cool Scandinavian style petroglyphs all over the landscape. These carvings are actually inspired by real world rock art, and the mod really does integrate them into Skyrim's rocks and cliffs so well that they feel like they genuinely belong there. The petroglyphs themselves depict a bunch of different scenes, like patterns and figures that show ancient rituals and daily life of past eras. In the creator's words, they were focused on authenticity, so the mod only includes the traditional carved style, meaning you won't find any painted versions, which is a big win for realism. Since the placement is randomized with base object swapper, every playthrough offers a new experience and definitely encourages you to slow down and check out all those hidden spots you come across in the world. Now we have Warguard and Ebony Warrior's boss overhaul, which as the name suggests completely transforms the infamous Ebony Warrior. The vanilla encounter is supposed to kind of be the ultimate challenge at level 81, but we all know it usually falls a little flat and he's just a dude with good stats. This mod fixes that entirely by updating his look, which in my opinion looks really cool compared to the rather simple vanilla counterpart. But the mod is way more than just visuals. When the fight begins, the Ebony Warrior is far more aggressive and unpredictable. His attacks are stronger, his combat smarter, and it really does make the fight a completely different experience. With this mod, the final encounter has become a tense, high-stakes duel where timing and skill are extremely important. Warguard transforms that final showdown into the memorable experience it always should have been, making it feel like a true test of skill and a worthy climax to any of your character's stories. Now we're going to take a look at a couple of visual and graphics mods that really caught my eye. First up is SkySync, and this one completely changes how Skyrim feels in relation to the sun. This mod fixes the mismatch between the sun's position and the game's lighting. It perfectly syncs up the light from the sun and the moons with their actual position in the sky. So now the sunlight hits at the right angle, casting shadows exactly where they should be. And the moons finally work, giving off a proper light that moves as they cycle. Honestly, every sunrise, every sunset, and every night now feels way more natural, giving the world that realism that I didn't even realize it's been missing. Sticking to lighting, next up is Illuminous Elementals. This mod seriously enhances all the creatures of Skyrim that use elemental effects by making them give off their own bright glow, naturally lighting up their surroundings, which we all know, more glowing stuff means better graphics, and more RPG means a faster PC. A few of these creatures that have this nice overhaul are Spriggans, Frost Atronachs, Storm Atronachs, Wisp Mothers, and even the Ashspawn, as well as many more. Trust me, running into any of these guys is now instantly more atmospheric and a whole lot more interesting. Moving on to our location section for this video. We're starting small with a couple of interior changes, beginning with snazzy interiors, Dawnstar, Mortar and Pestle. Honestly, the original alchemy shop in Dawnstar was pretty empty, but this mod completely transforms it into a way more detailed space that feels actually real. It replaces all that bland vanilla junk with a bunch of cool interactive items. It updates the lighting and adds new furniture, and includes loads of new decorations. Every corner of the shop is designed to improve the atmosphere. The shelves are now packed with ingredients and tools, and you can tell the shop is actively crafting potions to sell to the citizens of Dawnstar. Using this mod makes visiting the Mortar and Pestle way more interesting, and is a great spot to release your inner alchemist. Next up is Snazzy Interior's Winterhold Burner's Oddments. Obviously tackling Burner's shop in Winterhold, turning it into a more detailed location. Similarly to the previous mod, the vanilla interior was pretty bland, but this overhaul adds a new bedroom for Burner's brother, Ranmir, which instantly makes it a must-have for me, as it's not just a pretty overhaul, but actually adds an in-world feature that was missing from Skyrim. The mod author has replaced most of the static items with a ton of interactive objects once again, and they've also updated the lighting and decoration to give it a nice cozy vibe. The shelves are now full of curiosities, potions, and ingredients, plus there are now small touches like scattered books and containers. Next up is Ivy Gates of Riverwood. This changes things up with Riverwood, giving it a little bit more charm and actual security. The big deal here is the automated gates, which open at dawn and lock up at dusk, which is a nice addition to the routine of Riverwood's daily schedule. On top of that, you get a new guard tower and proper defensive walls, making Riverwood feel like a genuinely protected settlement now, as it is meant to be under the protection of Whiterun, so this helps sell that fact. The mod also throws in a load of new clutter, making the area feel way more realistic and just genuinely nice to look at. Now let's move on to 4 mods, which will condense into one section as they all cover relatively similar aspects, but have slightly different themes between them. One thing we can all agree on is the vanilla orc strongholds are pretty disappointing. They were basic settlements with minimal structures and barely any activity. Luckily, the Orc Stronghold series has us covered. Every stronghold now gets far taller and sturdier walls and watchtowers that actually show you how big these places are. You also get a huge gate guarding the entrances, built from solid wood and wood beams. Plus, every location now has a Malakath shrine, making the Orcs' religion a more prominent aspect of these strongholds. Of the bunch, first up, we have Mor Khazgur, which now features a large central tree with runic stones surrounding it. Mor Khazgur used to be a kind of just standard Skyrim settlement, but with this mod, it actually now feels like it's been made into a thriving orc outpost. Then there's Dershnik Jarl, which is a rough-looking location, and the biggest visual change is the addition of hanging rope bridges that now link up different parts of the stronghold, and the whole place seems to mainly be built around verticality and height. Meanwhile, Largashbur is completely changed from Vanilla 2. The front wall is fully walkable, guarded by 4 watchtowers, and they even have a massive mammoth skull over the main gate, because you know, if that's not to say, stay the f*** away, then I don't know what is. Narzulbur has fantastic additions too. It's high up in the mountains of Eastmarch, and it features a second interior heavy-duty gate within the settlement to protect the Longhouse and gives me a kind of Last Stand vibe. You can download all of these strongholds as an all-in-one or as individual mods, and it really does turn these areas into the proper orc strongholds that they probably should have always been. Our final location mod is Snowpoint, which gives Snowpoint Beacon a well-needed change. This area is up in northern Skyrim, southwest of Winterhold, and sits high in the mountains. This mod makes this location much larger and way more dangerous with the addition of extra bandits patrolling the grounds. You'll find lots of extra clutter and workstations added to the settlement, and the location also finally features a proper beacon. It's the true center point of this watchtower that actually makes the name of Snowpoint Beacon make sense. The upgrade with this mod is actually kind of insane, and is a testament to the mod author to show just how much this area has been expanded and detailed. It's now a genuinely memorable spot in Skyrim's north, which now looks great and gives you a refreshing sight to explore even after all these years. Moving on to a couple of gameplay mods, starting with Wade in Water Redux Swimming Overhaul. This mod is focused on adding a touch of immersion to player movement in water. No longer will you just glide through rivers and lakes as if your heavy steel armor weighs nothing. Instead, your equipment actually affects your movement. Heavy armor slows you down noticeably, as you'd expect it to in real life, while lighter gear, on the other hand, allows you to move more freely, which I think is cool because it gives some more factors that play into the pros and cons of choosing heavy or light armor. Yes, it might be a simple change, but it makes swimming feel a touch more believable. It turns something that most people completely take for granted into a more meaningful, sometimes challenging act, which if you're into mods that make the game more realistic and challenging, this will be right up your alley. Next up is quite a fun little mod in my opinion, Surrender. Enemies yield and comply with your demands. This completely changes how combat gameplay feels in Skyrim by introducing the possibility of mercy. Instead of every encounter ending with just killing the enemy, now enemies who drop below around 15% health may kneel and surrender. Once they do yield, you'll get a bunch of choices. You can demand that they stand down, strip them of their weapons, or even persuade them to fight alongside you as a temporary ally. There is a catch though: if you hit too hard and deal more than the 15% of their remaining health in one blow, they will die instantly, so I guess try and be gentle when slicing them up. Each NPC's willingness to surrender is actually tied to their confidence level, which is already innately built into every NPC in Skyrim. Some foes are just simply too proud or too desperate to yield. You can also adjust these values in the MCM menu, allowing you to fine-tune how often enemies back down, which is a nice touch. Just be aware though, these now friendly faces can still turn on you whenever you're at low health, however innocent they may now seem, so best to stay cautious as you never really know what they'll be scheming next. Now it's time for a few creature mods, starting with a couple from Mahale. First up is a simple friendly creature. Even though from experience of being British, they can sometimes be anything but friendly in the real world. Farm Geese, Mahale Monsters and Animals, brings two new types of geese to Skyrim: the white and the grey farm goose. These birds roam around villages and farms, pecking at the ground, honking and waddling around. Luckily, in-game, they don't chase and hiss at you like they have done to me in person. This could, however, be rather amusing if it was a feature, so this is my official campaign for Mahale's next update. Beyond just the visuals, the mod also introduces new food items like goose breast and goose roast. These bursts slot right into Skyrim's world and are fully lore-friendly and quite balanced. Honestly, it's just a small mod that adds a little bit of extra life to the repetitive farm areas. Our second Mahale mod is Rotten Mud Crabs. These creatures are basically zombified mud crabs. They feature decaying cracked shells, missing limbs, and nasty fungal growths, making them a kind of gross sight to run into in the Morthal marshes. They do look quite a bit more horrific than the standard mud crab, and the mod also introduces a new ingredient, rotten mud crab chitin, which you can harvest and use in your alchemy recipes. These crustaceans aren't just for show either. Engaging with a rotten mud crab can transmit swamp fever, which is a disease that cuts your weapon skills by 50%. Sticking with the swamp theme, we have swamp skeletons. These are reanimated corpses that were lost to the wetlands and now rise from the muck. They have green stained bones and are covered in moss, and just have a general unsettling presence. They start spawning at level 11, and these skeletons lurk around Morthal. They emerge from the fog ready to ambush unsuspecting travellers. Ironically, for something that's technically dead, they really do make the swamps feel quite alive in a dark, sinister way, and they just give you a new threat that fits perfectly with the region's misty and creepy vibe. Our final creature mod is Mythical Giants Replacer, which completely reimagines Skyrim's giants, and I think it's one of, if not the first mod to ever do something quite like this. It turns them from those ordinary, somewhat boring big dudes into varied, glorified beings. It introduces 4 distinct types: blonde, brown, grey, and frost. The blonde giants look like real protectors of the plains. Their golden hair and glowing skin make them appear somewhat elegant. As elegant as giants can be, I guess. Brown giants are more rugged. Their coloring lets them blend right into Skyrim's forests and mountains, and they look sort of like they grew right out of the ground. Grey giants look the oldest. Their stone-like hair and rough skin would make you think they've been around for centuries. However, if you see one, probably don't assume that age comes with maturity, because they will still quite happily smash your face into the ground. Finally, the frost giants are the perfect fit for Skyrim's cold. They have pale blue skin and white ice hair that really makes them stand out. They fit perfectly into the snowy parts of Skyrim, and these frost giants are my personal favourites of the bunch. Our magic section is covered by a couple of mods from the author Kitty Tail, starting with her Wish Magic. This mod gives you a cool new way to hunt for a variety of new magic in Skyrim. Unlike vanilla spells, where you're just given spellbooks straight to your inventory, Wish Magic makes you actually have to work to obtain them. To acquire these spells, you need to spot shooting stars. All over the map, you'll find spots marked by glowing lights. Touch one of these spots and it starts a shooting star event, which sends you on a quick little quest to track the star across the night sky. Each location rewards you with a different wish spell, meaning there are a ton of new unique magical abilities to find and play around with. I'm only going to show off 3 of these spells in this video, but there are a lot more waiting for you to discover, so I guess count this as light spoilers, no pun intended. The first spell we'll show is Guiding Light. This is basically a cooler version of Clairvoyance, lighting the way towards your current track quest. The spell creates a glowing beam of light which will guide you over any nav-mesh terrain. This is just a better looking, fun replacement to using clairvoyance that will help you navigate towards your desired quest location. Next up is Manifest Magic Mirror, which allows the player to summon a magical mirror right in front of themselves. When you use it, you get instant access to the race menu, obviously letting you change how your character looks. It's a really handy little spell that lets you change your character whenever you want without having to leave the game world or return home. And the last spell we're covering from Wish Magic is Transform. This spell lets you turn any NPC into a friendly, non-hostile creature. It's a pretty easy way to deal with dangerous enemies or just escape a fight that you couldn't win. But the spells will eventually wear off, so that friendly little rabbit might suddenly turn back into a bandit. Rather than always swinging your sword or firing offensive spells, Transform allows you to totally defuse a situation instead, in a funny but admittedly kind of fucked up way. Next up is the mod Ancient Death Magic, which introduces a set of powerful necrotic spells, designed to be extra effective against living targets. Again, I'll be highlighting 4 of these spells to give you a taste of what the mod has to offer. First up is Blast Bones. This spell summons quick little skeletal minions that chase down enemies and explode when they hit them, causing a huge amount of damage. The explosion damage is doubled against any living foe, making this a really deadly spell for clearing out a group of enemies or taking down a major target from a safe distance. Next is Boneyard. This creates a circular spell ring marked by 3 ghost gravestones. If any living enemies step inside, they are immediately slowed and take continuous damage, letting you weaken enemies before they even get close to you. And even the area affected is turned into a desecrated graveyard, which is a nice touch. Moving on, we have Necromantic Skull. This spell fires a blast of necrotic energy right at your target and instantly deals double damage to any living enemy. The skull instantly turns green upon impact, absorbing the target's soul. This one's probably my personal favourite, as it's very satisfying to cast when you need to instantly wipe out a single foe. Our final necrotic spell is Death's Touch. You should think of this one as your ultimate finisher. This spell can quickly take out the most dangerous enemies and end a tough fight right there and then. It releases a massive rush of soul energy that deals extra damage to any weakened enemy, and it hits living foes for triple damage. When the spell hits, the target lets out a chilling shriek, which sounds like it's ripping their souls from them. In my opinion, this is a really fun spell pack to use, and it's a great addition to any Necromancer playthrough as the base game misses out on a lot of these types of spells. It's also just good for someone looking for a bit more variation in their magical arsenal. Now we're going to take a look at some texture and model mods, starting with Valhalla Bridges. This mod replaces 11 of Skyrim's most important bridges. It swaps out those generic reused vanilla structures with unique custom-made models. You'll see some that look ancient and crumbling, while others, like Riverwood's bridge for example, looks kind of quickly built and temporary. I mean, there's even a kind of drawbridge style, and who doesn't love a drawbridge? It adds a ton of realistic detail to these bridges, and honestly, it just makes a huge difference to the feel of these locations when you're walking across them or just passing by. Next is Rustic Repose, a common bed replacer. As you can probably guess, this mod gives Skyrim's common beds a rustic, used appearance that fits perfectly with the more simple homes of peasants and villagers. These beds now feature detailed textures and realistic materials which look exactly like something an actual villager would probably sleep on. And it's always nice just to get a bit of a new lick of paint to a model you see over and over again. Our next 2 texture mods sort of go hand in hand. We're starting with Vanahema Mines and Caves. This mod aims to completely overhaul the textures of the interior rock walls in the game. It gives these locations a new appearance to every wall, floor, and icy surface, which totally eliminates that kind of flat, repetitive look of the vanilla textures. Somewhat linked to that mod, we also have Vanahema Ore Veins. This mod replaces every single ore vein, ore, and ingot in Skyrim. The new updated designs appear more lifelike and kinda don't stand out as much, more like how I think they look in the real world. And honestly, mining them just feels better now. They actually look like resources you should be trying to find instead of just generic objects that stick out like a sore thumb. This mod doesn't just stop at the veins though, it also improves the ores themselves. Every single ore from iron to gold now has really nice new textures. They now actually look like valuable minerals that you found deep in a mountain, and when you finally smelt these down at the forge, the whole process of mining just feels more rewarding. And finally, the finished ingots have also obviously been updated. The ingots now look sturdier and more dense, making the final reward of all your mining and smelting feel like the hard graft has finally paid off. Next up is HF's Flagons, which gives all the flagons in Skyrim a visual upgrade. This mod creates 4 completely unique flagon models. For the first, you get the classic vanilla shape, but this time with better detailing and engraving. The second is a smooth glazed ceramic container that looks really elegant. The next is a rustic wooden flagon that's perfect for farmhouses. And last but certainly not least is a cool teapot shaped version based on an Akaviri style featuring a dragon pattern. The best part is that base object swapper will randomly replace all the vanilla flagons across your game. These 4 new versions really do help to improve your time spent at dining tables or if you spend a lot of time at the local inn, and hey, I won't judge you if you want to get completely battered. Next up is Thrones Expanded, which gives every single Jarl's throne in Skyrim a much needed change by making each one unique to suit their city. They all still fit Skyrim's Nordic style, but now every seat has detailed carvings and cool runic symbols, making the throne runes feel quite a bit more historic and important. Let's start with Solitude. The throne there is now much taller and is made of solid stone, and at the top of the chair sits a detailed wolf's head, proudly showing off the symbol of solitude. Moving over to Whiterun, and the throne here has been totally transformed into a hand-carved wooden seat that looks very Viking inspired, with 4 dragon heads that stick out and are just like the figureheads on an old longship. Next up is Winterhold. The throne here has a stocky stone design, and the city's sigil is central right at the top. And personally, I think this is probably my favourite design out of all the thrones featured in this mod. Dawnstar has its splayed wooden beams sticking up from the back, and the armrests curve into what look like snake heads. Morthal has carvings that look like tentacles and just kinda looks really strange, but the funky shape and the weird patterns do quite fit the mysterious swampy vibe of the whole quite well. Finally, the Falkreath throne combines wood and steel, and it has horn-like structures rising from the top of the seat. Overall, each one of these thrones have a really cool, new, unique design, and it's one of those mods that there just really isn't any reason to not have. It just is kinda better than the vanilla game, so you might as well download it. Next up is Divergence, Skytone Runes, and the whole point of this mod is to slightly deviate from the vanilla game's rune spell textures. It still resembles Skyrim, but it's a lot more of a fantasy interpretation of the way they would look. This mod upgrades the 6 available runes with the base game and the Dragonborn DLC to 4K textures. The mod author has deliberately made the colours more vibrant and has given them more contrast. Now if you do drop a fire rune, the colour really pops out against the dark background, which also helps you identify them and not get caught by them as often. Obviously it's a simple texture replacer, so you don't need to worry about compatibility really, but just be aware, as you can probably see on screen, that this mod is heavily stylized and goes for a more vibrant fantasy look, not really realism. But let's be honest, what does a real rune really look like anyway? Our final texture mod is Kanjis Stalrim Weapons Animated. This mod fixes up, in my opinion, one of Skyrim's coolest weapon sets. Compared to the standard Stalrim weapons, these have a frosty blue glow which pulse with animated lights, making them look a lot more magical. The visuals kind of remind me of falling snow or maybe even moving stars in the night sky, but represented on weapons. An extra cool thing is that every weapon has the new visuals even if they are equipped or unequipped, meaning if you have them on display you'll still be able to show off the new cool additions. Now for the combat mod of this video, which is Sanguine Symphony. This mod is basically Skyrim combat on steroids. Every single strike now has a stronger impact animation. It creates way more detailed blood effects and stronger hit reactions that really show the power of every blow. The biggest change you'll notice is how the blood works. Instead of the same small splatters, if any actually appear, the blood now sprays based on your attack. The direction you swing, how hard you hit, and even the type of weapon all change how the blood looks when it hits the ground. It is super gory, but I mean, what's the point of combat without any gore? The dirtier the better. Wounds will also layer up on an enemy during the battle, so if you get into a long grueling fight, NPCs will look properly beaten down by the end of it. You can actually see the damage you've dealt, making the whole fight feel way more brutal, especially if you're getting all up close and personal. The mod also lets you play around with the finishers. For critical hits, you can get these short slow motion bursts that make the kill moves feel more dramatic. But if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff, then the mod also allows you to turn it off in its MCM menu. Overall, Sanguine Symphony makes a huge difference to the feeling of Skyrim's combat, and it's just really fun to play with. I will, however, note as a disclaimer, there is an MCM menu for you to tone down all the blood effects just in case you're a milk drinker. Moving on to our animation mods, starting with Thunder Trot horse animations. This mod completely fixes how horses move by replacing all the old walk, trot, and gallop animations with new ones that look far better. It's designed to ensure the legs and body move more naturally. The horse can now properly turn left and right while galloping as well. and you can see small hops in the trot animation and also the front and back legs move in much more of a believable way while you ride. There's not a huge amount of mods that actually edit the horse animation, so stuff like this is always really nice to see. Next up is new creature animation, Dwarven Centurion. This mod aims to change how Dwemer Centurions move and fight. It replaces the stiff robotic animations with new ones that are more fluid, with their arms and legs added with real weight, seeing as they are made of solid Dwemer metal. Centurions swing their weapons with real force behind them, and they can now also switch between two modes, Overheat and Overload. Overheat mode makes them incredibly aggressive, and they try to release that heat by using fire attacks. Just be careful though, because if you hit them with fire magic, it actually speeds up the overheating. Overload mode means their circuits are fried, making them pretty unpredictable. They start throwing massive high voltage lightning attacks. I mean, what else do you want to make a Dwemer boss battle more intense than sparks and flames that are flying everywhere around you? Next, let's add some style with our new armor and clothing mods, starting with the Master Thief armor. This is a high quality, lore friendly outfit that adds a completely new set of gear suited to a thief style playthrough. There is also an additional download which will replace all the vanilla Thieves Guild armors with this version, alongside the original mod on the mod page if you're interested. You get the option of 3 colour variants including brown, black, and green, and they work for both male and female characters. The hood gives the sense that your character's trying to stay anonymous. The main armor is light with aged stitching, the gauntlets are padded at the forearms, and the boots really just tie the outfit together. And of course, the set is loaded with thief accessories. You get a small coin pouch, a coiled rope for climbing, and slots for throwing knives, but of course these are all just cosmetic, but it would be pretty cool to be able to use them. Next up is Ancient Imperial Armor SE. This mod brings the look of a forgotten empire right into Skyrim. The set is super detailed and just looks really good, and reminds me of the Imperial armor style from ESO, which it may be a replica of. You get 2 versions of the armor. There's a heavy, fully plated one for maximum protection, and a lighter version that is just as detailed but lets you move around easier. The chest piece has detailed engravings, the gauntlets are solid, the boots are strong alongside the helmet, and there's a shield and sword that fit with the overall feel of the outfit perfectly. The armor is designed to fit male and female bodies without looking weird, and one of the best things about this mod is by downloading the additional mod Ancient Imperial Armor SPID, NPCs can wear this too, so you'll actually see this armor distributed to some NPCs around your game. Now let's look at Woodland Wizard Robes. This is a forest themed mage outfit that really stands out in Skyrim because of how unique it is. Instead of being a boring traditional hood, this set has a strange magical hat covered in flowers. You can also wear an optional mask as well as the hat if you don't want your character's face exposed, or you can choose to go without, it's up to you. The robes themselves are covered in checkered patterns, decorated with moons and stars. The cloak has a similar checkered design with tiny holes throughout. The boots are mismatched, each one distinct from the other, so this in my opinion is certainly the kind of outfit an eccentric, nature-loving mage would have. It's got that mystical, almost kind of tribal look, so if you want your mage to be tied to the forests of Skyrim, then this is definitely the armor mod for you. Next up is Thalmor Sacred Armors. I think I pronounced that right. The name Sacred actually means Shadow Child in Aldmiri. They're supposedly a group of secret assassins from the Somerset Isles that the Thalmor officially denies exists, and this armor apparently belongs to that said faction. The armor looks professional and incredibly elite, making it very Thalmor-esque. The heavy options have the face fully covered to conceal the assassin's identity, and the gauntlets and boots match the outfit style. To be honest, the armor actually does come across as quite intimidating. Along with the armor, you also get 2 matching weapons, a sword and a dagger. They're slightly stronger than their ebony counterparts, so they give you a nice one-up in a fight. You can just craft the full set at any forge if you have the ebony smithing perk. Finally, the mod also adds a new type of enemy called the Thalmor Sacred. Since they are placed into the Thalmor Soldier enemy list, you'll start running into these guys around level 20. If you do manage to take them down, you'll get the chance to take their loot if you haven't already crafted a set for yourself, which at level 20, you probably haven't reached ebony yet, unless you've been sweating the smithing perks. Finally, our last armor in the showcase is the Viper armor, and this set is for female characters only, and this really does tick all the boxes for an assassin's outfit. It has that classic Deadly Dark Brotherhood look, but the mod author has also thrown in some cool and modern variations. Everything here is lightweight and flexible, meaning you're not moving around and turning like a fridge. The whole outfit lets you move quickly, allowing you to pull off silent strikes easily, and if you want to look super shady, there's an optional face mask to conceal your identity. You'll find extra straps and buckles all over the armor, making sure everything is tightly fitted in a sort of tactical way. You get a cool back dagger to carry out your kills, and throwing knives for long range situations. However, again, obviously, these are just cosmetic, so you can't actually use them unless you install another mod that lets you do it. Anyway, now for the good news. The armor comes with 3 different color variants, which are brown, black, and green, giving you a few options that best suit your character. On top of everything mentioned, there's also a Dark Brotherhood armor replacer option with 2K textures for female Dark Brotherhood members, excluding the NPCs with mage robes. Just be aware that the replacer is a separate download from the original armor, but you can run both, the main mod and the replacer at the same time. Now it's time for the weapons section, and we have 4 unique mods, starting with the Timeless Spear. It's a metallic coloured spear with gold and dark wraps, while the spearhead itself glows with an luminous green crystal. Next is Rune Carver's Edge, a blade with runic markings etched all over the hilt and pommel, and it also comes as a longsword or a greatsword. The centerpiece of this sword is probably the jagged and kind of vampiric crossguard, and overall is just a simple but great looking weapon. The next mod is called Radiance. This is a unique mace made from ebony and steel, with a powerful looking gemstone that lights up the surrounding areas when unsheathed. You can also toggle the light on and off at the press of a button, and you can switch between one-handed and two-handed variants using a hotkey. Finally, a really cool addition is you can actually change the colour of the light and how wide the radius is, giving you a ton of customizable options for the ability this weapon gives you. And our final weapon mod is the Sword of Thorns. I guess its name must come from the forged, cut-out shaping of the blade, as they are shaped like sharp thorns. Even just looking at this weapon, you can tell it kinda means business. This sword is a great addition to your arsenal, and it rounds off our weapon section for this video. Now it's time for a few UI mods to clean up your menus. First up is Casting Bars Reskin Edge UI Inspired. This is just a very simple reskin for the Casting Bars mod that gives your casting, shout, and bow drawn bars a better look. The casting bar is only for charged master level spells. The bar fills up with a new pattern background instead of the previous one, giving it much more relevance to magic than before. The shout bar is incredibly classy. As the bar fills and the shout charges, you can see the dragon language, Dovazul, revealed along the bar. The bow draw bar is rather simple. It lets you quickly judge your shot without cluttering the screen. The fill in the bar moves smoothly and now has a dark to light colouring depending on how powerful your shot is. Honestly, these new visuals just really create a unified modern look across your charged spells and shouts if you're going to use the Charging Bars mod. Yes, it might be a little small mod that doesn't change a whole bunch of stuff, but sometimes it's mods like these that make the extra bit of difference. Next up is Unread Books Glow Redone. This one is also pretty straightforward. It adds a vibrant glow to all unread books. This makes it incredibly easy to see differences between what you have and haven't read. For me, I always remember in my first playthrough it used to be really frustrating and tedious having to go up to every single book to check if I had already read it or not, but with this mod you can just see it from the opposite side of the room. Now it's time for a couple of sound mods. First up is Underwater Loop and Swimming Sounds. And this is one of the first mods I've actually ever saw do this, which seems pretty strange that I can't really recall another mod that did it. This gives Skyrim's underwater world an audio upgrade. Instead of those vanilla repeating sounds, this adds 11 new effects that can make you feel like you've actually shoved your head underwater, which I guess is the point. Our other sound mod is Whispers of the Daedric Princes. This mod adds creepy whispers to all Daedric shrines as you approach them. It makes them seem like each Daedric prince is right there with you, watching your every move as they flabber away. With this mod, it actually feels like the Danger Princes of Skyrim are actually calling you to do their bidding, and adds an air of creepiness to Skyrim's world, which I always think is a welcome upgrade. Our final section for this video is quests, and to start we have Behind and Beyond. This is a small lore-focused quest mod that introduces a peaceful, wise dragon called Mindoki Pan. He's fully voiced and has an incredibly unique appearance, and instead of attacking you, he talks to the player through riddles, sort of like Gollum in The Hobbit, I guess. To start the quest, you either need to reach the end of Ustengrav in the main quest, or if you've already done that, just pull in the chain level for Jurgen Windcaller's tomb will spawn the dragon. You can then find him perched at Deadman's Respite. He sends you across Skyrim, solving his riddles and uncovering some of Skyrim's forgotten history, and details about the dragon's past. The answer to each riddle actually gives you his next location, so it's sort of like a little treasure hunt, until you've proved yourself worthy to him. Also, finishing the quest gives you a unique custom enchanted item for all your riddling troubles, and running all across Skyrim after his lizard ass. This isn't a huge combat-filled questline, but a simpler and more engaging experience focused on learning Skyrim's history. Our final mod in this showcase is Adventurer's Start, an alternate perspective add-on. With this mod, you start in a small room when your character first appears. Before heading out, you must talk to the messenger, who's actually a miniature dragon, and he provides you with all the ways you can start your new playthrough, rather than going through the tedious, repetitive Helgen start, and is an extra alternative to just using an alternative start that actually gives you some proper intros. I'll take you through each of the choices he offers, starting with Roadside Ambush. This one actually throws you right into combat. You're dropped onto a road under attack by 3 level 1 bandits and have to react quickly, using whatever you have around you. Next up is Fell in a Spike Pit. This one places you in the Spike Pit at Halted Stream Camp, as you've obviously not been wary of your surroundings and took quite a fall, so you're already at half the health. Next to you is a dead mercenary with some loot, giving you a chance to scavenge and prepare while danger surrounds you. Another one of the options is Bounty Hunter. This one places you at one of Skyrim's bandit camps with a mini bounty quest to complete. You get a few healing, stamina and magicka potions to help you survive. However, you probably do need to be quite smart about your strategy, and once the target is eliminated, you can turn in the bounty at the hold that you're in. Now for one of the options that is slightly different with the Bandit Prisoner Start. This one has you locked in a cell inside a bandit controlled fort, with a few lockpicks hidden nearby. You can plan your escape at your own pace. All the locks are only apprentice level, which makes it not that frustrating when you're starting at level 1. For the most part, the bandits leave you alone while you're locked up, but once you start your escape, all hell will break loose, and this is honestly one of the more fun ones, as you can try and sneak your way out, or just make a break for it. Next is the Orc Stronghold Start. This one places you in one of the Orc Strongholds where you are raised. Largashpa, however, is not an option as it involves the Danger quest. With this start, you actually do start as Bloodkin, so you can explore Orc culture and traditions the right way without having to do some initiation quest, which is honestly a really unique way of starting Skyrim. The next option is Saved by Vigilance. This one drops you in a dark cell inside Hobsfall Cave. You're right on the edge of being sacrificed by necromancers and probably about to die. Luckily, the story takes a twist and the Vigilance Extender arrive, fighting your captors and releasing you from imprisonment. Because if you were actually sacrificed at the start of your game, there wouldn't be much game, would there? The final choice is Out in the Wilderness. This places you directly in Skyrim's wilds, far from towns and cities, with nothing but the landscape and I guess your wits. This is one of the more simple starts, and is probably perfect for survival playthroughs to freely explore and shape your character's story from the ground up. Having all of these options means you never really have to worry about a boring start ever again, unless you jump straight into whatever adventure you feel like, and your future will be dependent on the path that you choose. With all these really amazing mods featured in today's video, I hope you found something that sparks your curiosity or inspires your next playthrough. I really appreciate you sticking around, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel for more content. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know which of the mods maybe caught your eye, and if there are any other new ones that you think should be featured in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.